welcome to another edition of the Tech Show. This time we are bringing to you an Xbox special. Stop doing that. Varun Singh, our personal technology editor, is trying to knock me out while I'm not paying attention. We've been using the Xbox 360 for almost a week now, and we're going to give you the entire lowdown on this next generation console throughout this episode. Let me start by asking Varun Singh, our technology editor, first thoughts on the Xbox after playing around with it for a week.
Well, it's nice, and it truly is a next-gen console. Quite a lot of people were speculating, quite a lot of people were saying quite a lot of other things. They were saying it's not next generation, you have to wait till the PlayStation 3 comes out. Not true. This is a next-generation console. The graphics, the modes, the multiplayer experience online, everything makes it a next-gen console.
It's the first console with these wireless controllers, so that really gives it
It's not the first console with wireless controllers, but it's the first
PS2 didn't have
console,
them, right?
which has them provided with the console.
You get one free with the thing.
Yeah. You have to buy the full version, which is the $23,500 version.
Which comes with the hard disk.
Which comes with the hard drive and the free wireless controllers and HD TV output.
Okay.
The regular one,
19,001 comes without
no
HD
TV,
no
wired
hard
controllers, and no hard drive.
Okay.
Yep.
So there you have it. If you want to spend 19 grand, you don't get a hard disk, and of course the disadvantage of not having a hard disk is you can't download all the demos from the online service.
And on top of that, especially considering the fact that if you have the last generation Xbox and you want to play those discs on this and take advantage of the beautiful anti-aliasing and everything else, you cannot do that if you don't have a hard drive.
Okay.
It downloads the patches for all of that stuff from the internet so that you can play old games.
But the only argument I would say for which a hard drive is not all that necessary is that Xbox Live service is really difficult to configure, isn't it?
It is, and primarily for the reason because most of the Indian users don't have a very well set up broadband network at home.
Ideally, you should be just able to plug your broadband in and the settings should come immediately.
True. But it's not that way at quite a lot of places. I mean, if you have a broadband connection at home, most probably your ISP has provided you some horrible dialer which you have to use, and the entire configurations are done by that dialer.
Correct.
Since you can't download the dialer onto the Xbox, you have to configure that on your PC.
And without a keyboard, that's really tough.
Yes, and without a keyboard, that's really tough. And you have to configure this to plug into your PC and then go to the broadband connection, which is very difficult.
But somehow, if you do manage to log on to Xbox Live, is it worth it? Some good stuff?
It is worth it. It's totally worth it. You get to download lots of game demos completely free. You get to download game videos. There are these tiny little arcade games which Xbox has, so you can download the trial versions of those.
And on some games, you can play multiplayer for free, right?
You can play multiplayer for free as long as you're on the Xbox Gold membership, which is provided 1 month free with it. Now, so when Microsoft launches it in India, they will be launching the Xbox Live service along with it. Because truly speaking, without that, half of the next generation stuff can't be done.
Okay. Well, what we're now going to show you is something that we warn you, do not try this at home. In fact, we're showing it to you on the Tech Show precisely so that you don't try and rip your own Xbox 360 apart. We're actually going to take one of these things apart. Actually, we've kind of loosely taken it apart earlier, and we're going to show you what we did. But it's not an easy process, right? You can't just rip it apart with a screwdriver.
You can't. It's completely sealed shut. There's no screws outside, no visible screws outside. So everything which is there is inside the plastic shell. And Microsoft has been very smart. They've made custom tools to open the box, which we haven't been provided.
But we've got tools of our own.
So we've made hack tools. There are these tiny little slots in the back.
See, this is plastic. This is what goes on top of a 50 DVD set. We've actually cut small keys like this one, if you can see them.
And you have to insert them at the back of the Xbox, and when you do that, there are these tiny little notches which just pop open. Tuck, tuck, tuck. So we've done that. We've practically opened the entire thing from behind. Once you've opened
pop the vent out.
Yes. And you can rip this front panel also out just like that.
Just to let viewers know that this front panel actually comes in different colors, so you could customize your Xbox.
What you do is just lift it like this, and there are a few notches from the front which will open up at the same time. And once you do that, there you go. You have the metallic shell of the Xbox here.
This is the hard disk. We're going to put this also out.
Yeah. So once you have the metallic shell, you basically have these long screws which fit in here and hold this shell to the bottom case. And then what you do...
these torsion screwdrivers, right?
These Torx screwdrivers you need, and you can remove all of those. Once you've done that, you basically take this, you flip it around, because that's actually how it is. I mean, internally it's built that way.
And guys, this is after we've already taken it apart once. So the first time we did it, it took a lot of time. It was fairly
25-30 minutes
on the fingers. There's the vent, there's the case. Let's get rid of that as well.
Now here, this is the first thing that you'll end up seeing. That's the DVD-ROM drive.
Okay.
It's a conventional DVD-ROM drive, not
like
an HD DVD drive. Yeah. So when you lift it, the only difference between this and the regular DVD-ROM drive is that it's got this custom power connector. So you can't just plug it straight into your PC.
Okay.
But this is a serial ATA drive, just the way your PC has a serial ATA hard drive, or nowadays even DVD-ROM drives. You just take that apart, that's a serial ATA standard drive.
This is what your gaming discs go into.
It's a little thinner than the conventional ones.
Okay.
That's about it. So this here practically looks like a server from the inside.
Yeah,
if you buy an IBM server, an HP server, anything like that, you see that they don't have heat sinks with fans on top. They have a heat sink which is inactive, passive heat sinks.
Yeah, let's just show that up once.
Yep.
That's the Xbox.
So that's the Xbox.
This is
the CPU.
The Power PC.
The Power PC triple core CPU.
Yeah, not a dual core. 3 cores running on the same chip.
And 3.2 gigahertz each.
Okay.
And this is the ATI graphics card, the Xenon.
Okay.
And actually, none of it is ATI or IBM. IBM and ATI both have licensed their technologies to Microsoft.
Okay.
Unlike the last generation where they made the mistake of actually buying the CPU from Intel and buying the graphics card from Nvidia.
And then shelling out more in royalty. So this is the power that runs the Xbox 360. A couple of years ago, you would have to take special permission to import one of these into India. It's so powerful. Once again, guys, don't try this at home, because the moment you do this, you've broken that warranty seal, and Microsoft will not fix it for you if anything goes wrong. And believe me, if it's tough to open up, it's even tougher to put it back together.
Even tougher to put it back together.